3rd, 2014 Joliet Pre-Council meeting. Mayor Tom Girani presiding. Mayor?
Yes. Roll call.
We'll start with roll call. Mayor Girani.
Here.
Councilwoman Barber, absent. Councilman Girl, absent. Councilman Hug.
Here?
Councilman McFarland.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Odekirk.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman. Here. Councilman Turk.
Here. Okay, Jim?
We've got a couple people that want to speak, but I want to save that for the end of the agenda because one of the speakers is on their way. So
Okay.
if we'll take a look at the agenda, we've got a position vacancy under consent agenda for a clerk typist position in the finance department. And this is due to a transfer that was not filled. Council Memo 102-14 is a preliminary plat. This is a continuation of an existing plat for a 3-year period. There's no changes to any of the conditions or requirements that we've had in the past. We're showing you on screen the location of the property. Again, this this is to provide some time for the developer to receive the IDOT approval for the traffic study and the intersection improvements at Millsdale Road and Route 53. They did get those back in 2010. Development just has not happened at this point in time, and so it's a continuation that needs your approval.
Okay. Any questions?
Here on behalf of the applicant. My name is Mike Martin, 15 West Jefferson, attorney. And I also have my client Jay Marr here from Verus to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions of Mike? No problem.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Item 103-14, this is a ordinance to grant a license to the University of St. Francis for use of the public alley adjacent to 16 to 18 West Van Buren Street. This is the old Mode Theater building, and the subject alley is a dedication. You can see on the map here. They're taking over the building. They're totally gutting it and remodeling it. There'll be new HVAC equipment that's actually there right now in that alleyway, and I believe it'll also be screened. The St. Francis representative, Don Fisher, is here. Maybe you can share a little bit about the project.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. This is the next phase of the University of St. Francis, our downtown campus. As you probably remember, a couple of years ago, the university took over the upper floors, the top 2 floors of the Rialto Annex, the Rialto building adjacent to Van Buren Street. And the School of Arts moved downtown. It's been a great success, and the university wants to keep expanding their campus in the downtown area. And we were very fortunate to receive free of charge, or I think it might have been for $1, the former Mode building, which is located on the Van Buren Plaza. It's 1618 Van Buren Street. Many of us maybe remember seeing a movie there. I think the last one I saw was Jaws. It was quite a few years ago. But the building itself was renovated in 1982 to an office building. And over the years, it's deteriorated. It was foreclosed upon several years ago, and Harris Bank in Joliet took the property over. The university negotiated a deal with Harris Bank. The property was donated by Harris Bank in Joliet to the university, so that was probably the greatest impetus for us to be able to do another project in the downtown area, because as we all know, finances are tough for everyone. But basically, it'll be a total renovation, which started in December. The interior, if you can see on the picture of the building there, it's a 3-story, 18,000 square foot building. The interior was totally gutted. It's framed out right now, and one of the good things I think that will happen with the building too is the exterior facade will be brought back. It'll be a historical renovation, pretty close to the way the building looked when it was built in the 1920s. So we're looking forward to it. There'll be 20 full-time personnel, faculty in this building, and each day hundreds of students. Our criminal justice department will be moving down. A new business incubator department will be moving into this facility, and our park and recreation school will also be moving to the downtown campus. Parking-wise, we have a shuttle system that runs from the university's main campus to our downtown campus, so the students won't overflow your decks or park illegally on the street. There is a very good shuttle system that they'll bring the students back and forth from the main campus. So we look forward to another great project in downtown, and I hope it meets with your approval.
One question, not that it makes any difference. Are we looking at the alley on the east side or the west side?
It's the alley on the west side.
West side.
And traditionally, when the building was rehabbed in 1982, all the HVAC equipment, all the equipment was put out in the alley. At the time, I believe there was an agreement with the city. City staff couldn't find a copy of the agreement, so we decided to go forward with this license agreement just to make sure everything was up to the standards of today as far as record keeping.
Any questions? Don?
Just one.
Yes.
Don, is the theater portion still there with the seats and the screen and everything?
The theater portion was taken out in 1982. You can see there's some of the old tin ceilings, like on the 3rd floor. But if you go into the basement, and anybody that would like a tour, it's kind of interesting. When you go into the basement, you can see the original floor that inclined down. That was the old theater floor. So it was almost a subgrade. When you walked into the theater, the mode, you walked in at grade level, at sidewalk level, and then when you went into the theater, you went below grade. That is still there, but there's a floor that's built over it. But you still can't see it down the basement, but no chairs. I'm sure when they did the renovation back in '82, they sold all the seats and everything worth money. They probably got something for it, so.
And the movie Jaws, you sure it wasn't a council meeting you were watching?
Well, I don't know. No comment.
Trying to make
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Don.
Mayor?
Anybody else?
Yeah. I don't know if this question is for Don or for staff. If I understand it correctly, we have HVAC in that alley, public alley right now from the previous agreement?
Yes.
Okay. So we won't be restricting pedestrian flow or options because it's not been used that way for some time.
Yeah, there's nothing impeding. It is still wide enough with the HVAC equipment that's there and what will be replaced if we wanted to have a access walkway there and put in brick pavers or something. There's still room over there to do that. But this was something that's really an existing condition that we never formally conveyed to the property in the past.
If I understand
probably
right, Jim,
should have.
they're moving HVAC somewhere else?
No, the HVAC, the air handling units will be outside.
It'll still be outside?
Right, and
Yeah.
right now, Councilman, there's a large ComEd transformer, and you can't really take a vehicle through the alley. There's bollards that were built, when the transformer went in maybe 10, 15 years ago. But it is pedestrian friendly. The other good thing is this university will light that alley, and there will also be security cameras on all sides of the building. So all around the former Mode building, we hope it has a new name. Everybody's calling it the Mode Theater Building. But it will be lit very, very well between the city's parking deck and the Mode Theater Building. That whole alley will take on a new, it'll be much better as far as security.
And Don, am I correct that the plan is to screen that HVAC?
Yes, it will be screened.
Okay.
For the protection of the equipment and for visual.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Next item is item 105-14, which is conveyance of a piece of property that we own at 105 Mita Avenue, which is really now a part of Crombie Park. Back in 2008, the state law changed where properties that were going to go up for auction because of taxes that weren't paid on it were first offered to the local municipality to see if we wanted to buy it. And so we looked at all of those properties and purchased this back in 1998 for $800. But then, and the plan, even ever since then, we purchased it, was to allow it to be used for that park. And we never formally conveyed that to the Parks District. And so we need a resolution approving that.
Questions? Okay, Jim.
107-14 is a reconstruction of existing railroad bridges located at New Street and Osgood Street. We have to relocate the existing sanitary and stormwater facilities. This is really unrelated to the multimodal project there. This is something, there's a $1.3 billion project that the railroads are doing. They're fixing viaducts all along the way there. And so in order for them to proceed with their project, we have to relocate some of our lines. They had a pre-qualification, oh, I'm sorry, no, that's a different project. This one is low bid, $198,727. Any questions? 108-14 is a request for authorization to award a contract for the Cherry Hill Road and New Lenox Road roadway improvements. Just a few weeks ago, you approved the Joliet cold storage annexation, and as part of that project, road improvements are necessary, and a grant was provided through IDOT and the Economic Development Program funds, and also TARP, which is the Truck Access Route Program funds. So we, being the local government unit, are acting as a pass-through agent for the grant funds. So, so there is no expense on our behalf. This first item is we have an engineer estimate, and then we have a low bid amount here that's requested for your approval. $1,268,786 and some change. So,
Questions? Jim?
next item is really the follow-up, which is the engineering that's going to be needed for this project. And again, we are acting as the pass-through agent for the governmental granting. And so this is for $86,156 for Jacob and Hefner Associates.
Questions? Jim?
Item 10-14 is a request for authorization to award a contract for the 2014 traffic signal materials. This is a sole source provider to maintain our traffic signals throughout the year. It's over $20,000 in the amount of $50,663.50. This is something we do every year.
Questions? Seeing none. I'm sorry.
I do. Yeah, Jim, is the reason why it's a sole source is because we have certain parts that can only be retrofitted into those signals? Is that why it's considered a sole source?
Well, I'll have Director Trisna explain that, and also while he's explaining that, I want him to talk about an email that I sent to you recently, why during the wintertime here, we had a couple of traffic lights that suddenly were flashing red and for a couple weeks at a time.
Yeah. I mean, I have no problem with having the additional parts on
Right.
hand in inventory. It's just if it's a sole source, I'm assuming because those parts are specific to that equipment.
Yeah, the bottom line is, all our traffic control equipment is Econolite, and this is the sole provider. We have, so it's the same, these are the same controller cabinets, signal parts, citywide. We've got about, I don't know how many signals we have in town, about 125 signals, so that's why it's sole source.
Very good. Thank you.
And it's reasonable prices.
Jim, if I may,
Yes.
along those lines, I know we go after people when they hit those boxes in accident. What is our track record for collecting? Do you have any idea?
I'm not quite sure. Maybe Jeff want to handle that, because we turn that over to legal if there is, if there is a non-hit and run, which the case you're talking about, Mayor.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we do have a collection program for city property damage, whether it be streetlights or traffic signals or other city bicentennial park signs seems to be a favorite lately. And the key to collection is it a hit and run? And if it is not a hit and run, and we actually have someone that we know, we can identify, do they have insurance? That's pretty much it. But we do make a collection decision on each incident.
Jim?
Yeah, as far as the intersection of McDonough and Hobel, that's where Jim Hock was discussing. And we just talked about this at public service also. On January 10th, after we had some severe cold and a lot of snow, it warmed up and we got rain. We had some freezing rain, and a truck went off the road and hit our traffic control cabinet at the northwest corner of Hobart and McDonough. So we had to replace the cabinet. The problem, though, was it was such a severe accident that a lot of the wires were sheared right off, and the conduit that holds the wires between the handhole and the controller cabinet, it was frozen. We could not pull. There's excess wire in the handholds. We could not pull the excess wire to reattach it to the traffic controller. So we kept going out there from that point on, and every time we tried, it was frozen. And I even asked our guys, could you try to melt? Could you try to heat that up? And they said if you warmed it up, you could probably potentially melt the wires and cause more damage to the wire and the conduit. So we had to wait. Bottom line is those light signals were on flash until about a week and a half ago. It warmed up enough. Remember, it warmed up after that last major snow we had on President's Day. We got some warm weather then. We got some rain again. Our electricians were able to go out there and it thawed out enough so we could pull some of that slack wire, and we were able to reattach the traffic control cabinet. And it is now functioning, but at that time frame, we were on flash, unfortunately, for that long duration, basically due to the weather.
Sure. Jim, you remember when we had the bad flooding? And we
Yes.
had the traffic control light out on Caton Farm just west of 55?
Yes.
And it went out, and there was some kind of piece in there, I don't know if it was a computer piece, that took some time to order because we didn't have it. Are we giving you enough budget to get those types of pieces in now?
I don't believe Russ is ordering that piece with this. I can check and get back to you. I'm not sure if I think this is more of the hardware, different lights and different shields and portions of the traffic signal components, as well as some maybe an extra cabinet or two. I'd have to ask him. I think that's a specialty part, though, that would not be part of this order right now. But I'll let you know. I'll let the city manager know, and we'll forward it to everyone tomorrow.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Jim?
Council Memo 111 is hiring a company, Urban Design Ventures, for professional services for our 2015 to 2019 consolidated plan. This is something that's updated every 5 years. In order to be eligible for HUD funding, there was a review, first of all, of eligibility, in essence, looking at everybody's qualifications. Then they pre-qualified the bidders and then asked for a bid. And the low bidder here was also considered the most qualified for this review.
Any questions? Jim?
Last two items are very familiar.
Unfortunately.
113 and 114. One is for authorizing payment of snow removal for our parking decks and lots, and the other is for authorizing payment of snow removal for our contractors that we utilize for our in excess of 600 cul-de-sacs throughout the city.
All right.
Question.
Yes.
I received a phone call today on the far west side about the contractors that are doing the cul-de-sacs, And this gentleman said that, and I know it's part of our responsibility, but the contractors pushed all the snow up in their driveway, but it froze before they could get it out. So therefore, they're not able to remove it with the snow blower because it's just solid blocked ice. And I guess they damaged their car a little bit trying to get over it. What is their recourse?
Well, if they've got damage to their, to a mailbox or to a vehicle,
It was their
that's,
tire. It was their tire because they were trying
That's-
to get out in and out of the driveway.
there's a claim that people can file in the city attorney's office.
And then also, they said that the private contractors were not putting any type of sand or salt on their street, and it's like an ice skating rink. They can hardly drive in and out of their cul-de-sac.
Well, that's not any different than the rest of the subdivision.
No, I know, but I'm just
probably.
saying, don't we usually put some type of salt or sand down?
No, we typically are doing the intersections in the subdivisions.
Okay, because we're
not on
conserving the
main-
salt right now?
Yeah, because we're conserving the
getting
salt
short.
right now. 'cause
Okay.
We're short.
So they can file a claim
Yeah,
then, is that what you're saying?
as far as, we always get complaints about when the snowplow truck goes by and, you know, I just cleaned my driveway.
Well, right, and I understand that,
What
but
gets
this
pushed
one
back is usually
was-
pretty darn hard, for a snow blower to get out of there anyways. But if they've got a claim on damage to property, they can stop by the
I'll let
city
them know.
attorney's office.
I didn't know
Sure.
what was going on with the private contractors. Since that last issue.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anything else?
I was just going to say, we have a couple of residents that,
Larry's got a.
Jim, can they file claims online, Jeff or Jim? Are we there yet, or do they have to physically come to your office, or?
There is no, the claim form is available, I believe, but the actual processing, it could be emailed in. We do a lot of that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
is there, Jeff, is there an affidavit? I mean, is it notarized, their signature, that what they're?
It is
filling?
not a notarized form, but
Okay.
for the most part, each of these claims are carefully looked at. Sometimes we get a lot of similar claims, but for the most part, each claim is taken very seriously, and we will follow up with the property owner and get to the bottom of the circumstances that led to the claim, including all the items that were damaged and repairs that were made. It's a little bit of work. It's sort of, and you would know this, being in the insurance business, in a way, we're claims adjusting is what we're doing, and sometimes it requires a site visit. So it's not a process other than for communication where the internet is all that helpful. It does require some personal contact with the people submitting the claims and the review of each claim as well.
Thanks.
Okay. Anybody else?
Evelyn Benders of 8 South Rainers here this evening.
Thank you, Mayor and council people. My name's Evelyn Benders, and I live at 8 South Rainer. That's between Marion and Jefferson. And I'm here regarding the city ordinance 16900, sections 19 through 142, that states that there is never snow plowing in alleys. As you know, this winter, we've had a significant amount of snow accumulation. And several times, I was actually unable to leave the alleyway because of the snow accumulation. I cannot park on Rainer, so I have to park through the alley. But several times I have gotten stuck, and other people have also gotten stuck because there's no plowing in the alleys. So I'm wondering if just for this winter, because of the problem, if there can be an exception to the rule of no snow plowing in alleys.
Well, speaking for myself, I've received quite a few phone calls on that. And the problem, Evelyn, is if we do it for you, then we're going to be doing it for everybody. We just can't isolate, one person. And we just don't have especially with all the snow we've had, we just don't have the manpower to. If we start plowing alleys, it's going to take a lot longer for people to get their streets plowed.
Is there any way we can just put sand down once in a while just to stop it at all? No?
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
My neighborhood is one of the older neighborhoods as well, and what we've done is a group of neighbors have gotten together and hired someone that wants to make some money to plow our alley, and that's what we've been doing, paying them that.
Neighborhood, okay.
So but get everybody together, so it's not just the burden on one person, and then if everybody gets together that backs up to that alley, that's how we got it done. Just a
Okay.
suggestion for you.
All right.
I know it's expensive, but a lot of people are out
Well,
there
it's
trying to
my,
make some
I don't
money.
own it, so it'll be my landlord I have to speak with about that.
How many people
Yeah.
live in, is it an apartment building?
It's 3 units, but it's like a mixed area. There are houses, and some of the houses have access through the side of their homes.
Okay.
I don't have that. I have to go through the
Is,
alley.
is your access strictly off of Marion Street, or can you get it at the north end?
Even at either side, I can go through Jefferson or go through Marion. Either way, that whole alley just gets packed.
You might
And that's
find-
just like this winter. Has not been all the time. This winter's been really bad.
Might want to get a hold of all the neighbors in the block.
Okay.
I mean, all it would take is for somebody who just make a one swipe through there.
Yeah, that's
be
all it
too
would
much,
take, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
We also have this evening Dama Calderon, and if not, then Greg Terrell.
Thanks, I'm Greg. I appreciate having a chance to speak to Your Honor and the council people. I'm here on behalf of Dharma. She was not able to make it, but she had set the appointment. So I have not formally introduced myself, but I'm the Division Director for March of Dimes here locally, covering Joliet and 4 other counties, including Will, 5 counties total. And we have our annual March for Babies coming up in April, on April 27th at Joliet West High School, which, as I hear you talk about snow removal, we all think, are we ever going to be able to get out and enjoy the weather? But I do believe it's going to get better. So we're here to encourage participation throughout the village, or the city, and its districts. And I have a packet, stack of packets that I would like to submit to clerk, and encourage each of the councilmen to take inside of there are materials that you can certainly encourage other people to come out to the event on the 27th and
What is it, a
help us
walk or
fundraise.
is it a walk or a?
It is our walk. It's our annual walk, March of Dimes. A brief summary, 75 years plus. We started the walks that are so popular with so many other nonprofits. But if you're not familiar, March of Dimes began almost 76 years ago by FDR to find a cure for polio. And that polio cure was found through our funded research with Jonas Salk. Fast forward through the many years, we've funded the research for the folic acid that is now known to help cure spinal bifida. And our focus these days is on infant mortality reduction, prematurity reduction, and birth defects reduction. So I believe our mission is strong, and I will tell you that every single person in this room in the United States has been affected by March of Dimes, because polio has been eradicated in America, and it continues to be held off. So it's just one of the things that we can, I think, stand up proud and say March of Dimes is a very good organization, and we appreciate your support. Any questions? All of our information's in the packets. Please contact me if you would like more information. I certainly would like to see as much participation as we can drum up and support the local community and for what we do. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you.
That's really all there is, unless there's questions about any other agenda items. There's a request for closed session.
Jim, there's a gentleman back there, I think he wants to speak.
I don't know.
Can we allow him to speak? He raised
Yeah, it
his
takes a
hand.
motion.
Also move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Most of you know me. I'm Jon Keller. I live at 505 Western Avenue in the Kappa area. My wife and I, Patty, have lived in the Cathedral area since 1976, and I served as president of the Kappa area from 1991 to 93, and then I was reelected in January for another term to be president, which I'm very honored to do. It's a great area. I want to read a abridged version of a letter that we'll be sending from the CAP organization to the mayor and City Council and to Mr. Hock. So the subject is going to be on Evergreen Terrace. So, dear Mayor Girani and City Council members, as you know, CAPA was established in 1981 in order to work with the city to renovate and upgrade the residential area around the Cathedral of St. Raymond. The Cathedral Parish neighborhood had some years prior to been suffering from the incursion of absentee landlords, the upzoning of residences from single to multifamily, increases in crime and drug dealing, and drastic reduction in property taxes, or values, I'm sorry. The city and CAPA worked together and succeeded in reversing this deterioration. The Cathedral area is a result of a pleasant, clean, relatively peaceful neighborhood on the near west side with homes occupied mostly by owner occupants. Our crime rate is low. Homes that have been purchased in large measure by younger families interested in history, eager to renovate and upgrade the older homes. CAPA has long hosted several events on a regular basis which highlighted the neighborhood and the city as a good place to live. Among these were the House Walk, a wine walk, and a variety of other such activities. CAPA first urged the city to do something about Evergreen Terrace nearly 30 years ago, and we strongly support its efforts ever since. We continue to do so now. We have been dismayed to see recent attempts to discredit and reverse the city's efforts, in particular in the courageous defense in federal court and the case brought by the federal government and the owners of the complex. Over the past several weeks, I have received several calls and have been made aware of one or more city council members have been urging Cathedral area residents to oppose the city's efforts in this, and have suggested that if the city isn't stopped, we will soon have the Evergreen Terrace residents in our neighborhood. I have heard that the same thing is happening in other neighborhoods as well. This type of fear-mongering is most unfortunate and inappropriate. It spreads distress and divisiveness when we are in need of a citywide development and racial and ethnic harmony. Evergreen Terrace is still with us despite the city's efforts. But it looks, if we stay the course, as though we could soon be successful in finally addressing the long-standing magnet for criminals and a cause of degradation and high-density suffering. Please be assured that CAPA continues strongly to support the city and urges you not to lose courage or falter. Your success in this regard will benefit not only the Cathedral area and the St. John's neighborhood surrounding the complex, but also the entire city, and more importantly, the residents of Evergreen Terrace who need and deserve more spacious space to live and to raise families. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
John, I just got a question for you.
Sure.
The letter we're receiving, is this from the CAPA board or from its membership? How does a letter like this of endorsement come from your organization? Just out of curiosity, because ever since the article's been in the Herald News about the about Evergreen, I've actually received people in support of purchasing it and some that are not. And matter of fact, some of them live in the Cathedral area. So I was just curious how this letter, is it something that your board does? Do you guys poll the residents that live in the Cathedral area? How is it that a letter like this, because what I'm getting from you is that CAPA, the Cathedral residents, are in favor of condemning and purchasing Evergreen. I understand that correctly?
That's correct.
Okay.
We as a board, voted on this, and we brought it up at our general meetings in the past, and, the residents that come there support it. I mean, there are always going to be some that will not support it, but we as elected members for the neighborhood support it, and so the letter will be coming to you from me as president, for the CAPA board.
All right, thank you.
You're
That's my
welcome.
question.
Excuse me. Just to reiterate, it was discussed at a board meeting, though?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have a request for closed session to discuss litigation.
You do have one?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So move.
Second.
Just litigation or personnel and other items?
Well, we can, I have pending litigation matters, but if the clerk can read the normal reasons for closed session, that would be appropriate.
It has been motioned and seconded to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition, or conveyance, pending or threatened litigation, after which the meeting will be adjourned.
Motion and second.
It was motioned and seconded.
that's,
And Councilman Burrow,
Aye?
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman McFarland,
I vote aye, and I'd like to thank Jeff for emailing us ahead of time, giving us a heads up.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Otterkirk,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Mayor Durrani.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Website.
Okay.